Okay, everybody. Here, it's right here. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I want to call the. I don't have an agenda. Oh, boy, put your face out. Your January 22nd committee of the whole meeting to order. Please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance, then we'll go to roll call. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. There's not here, so I'll play ball. We all play ball. Yeah.
Who's on the phone?
Mike Powell.
Okay, so we have to do that first.
No, he's not.
And he said it's pledge allegiance.
Okay.
Okay, so Lucy, we call the roll. Supervisor Conway. She's here.
I'm here. Okay. This is a different thing. Bowman is absent. Trustee Sam.
Here.
Buford DK.
Here.
Will Hoyt.
Here.
Township Manager.
Here.
Director Marks.
Here.
Director Dillon.
Here.
Did I miss anybody?
Director, Superintendent. Yes, Betsy.
Betsy. I know Betsy.
Betsy, you here?
I'm here.
And Mike Powell's here by phone. Yeah. You got that?
I have him in.
All right. We'll start out with public comment. Anybody here to speak? Okay, then we'll move forward to administrative updates. Township Manager.
Yeah, so the only thing I have outside of the agenda is a reminder I will be out all next week. So I'm not bringing my work phone with me, so if you need me, call my personal cell.
You going on vacation?
Yeah, we're going to Disney.
Oh, that's nice. Have fun.
Yeah.
Which one?
World.
I have a question.
Sure.
I know we're not doing the stairs project anymore.
Well,
Correction.
Oh, okay.
Okay, go on. What were you going to say?
Did you get a letter or anything that's temporary?
Not yet.
Okay.
That's under my supervisor's report.
Oh, okay, sorry. I didn't know that. I just kept watching it. I was like, I wonder what happened.
Well, the company that we hired to do it decided not to show up anymore. Luckily, we hadn't paid them any money. So I am meeting tomorrow, actually. Fred and I are meeting tomorrow with our structural engineer again to figure out second to go out to bid to see who would be interested this time, with the idea that the scope of the job will be actually possibly bigger because the bricks are falling off the building. So we might make that one big project. We're not sure yet. Because last time we only had like 2 or 3 people that signed up for the bid.
yeah, there was only 2 bids. The first one, the original contract that we awarded, they backed out when we required a performance bond.
Correct.
And so they didn't want to give us one. So then they did their work, and then the second company just went MIA. So.
Yeah.
Are these local businesses or
Yeah.
just?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now the performance bond number has changed, so we actually could have done this job now today without needing a performance bond.
Sure.
But now they're out of business. They're out of business, but he moved. He relocated.
But do we have the temporary stairs or anything?
Nope, we have nothing. We haven't had it since this building was built.
Right, I know, but at one of the previous meetings when we were talking about this, we were just going to get the stairs until something was built.
I don't believe that we decided that.
Okay.
We were looking into other options, but nothing's been done.
Okay, because the stairs were just like $122 that you could put over.
A ladder.
Yeah,
And that's a throwover ladder, right?
Yeah.
Those are not that
just
easy
to have something.
to climb out.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yes?
Credit to you for requiring the performance bond. If these contractors can't get them, there's financial problem. So,
Well, I don't know I don't think that company had a financial problem, but I think they just didn't want to deal with all the paperwork.
yeah.
Well, that also tells you something.
Yeah.
It does tell you something.
But I have done business, I personally have done business with that
Okay.
company and did not have any issues with
Okay.
it, just to say.
Things change in
They're
business
smaller,
every day.
there's whatever.
And I will interject and say, as someone who has tried and done several projects at the center, it is very difficult to get people companies to want to do work for municipalities.
They do.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
because of
horrific.
prevailing wage and all the documentation that it takes
It's
to.
not worth their effort.
It's a lot of work. Like even jobs we do like our paving, every 2 weeks they have to supply us with their time cards
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of work. And some companies just don't have either the office staff to do it or just not interested in too much work.
Yeah, $120,000 is a lot of money. You know, it's in terms of scopes of projects, it's not really that big. So for them to not, they don't want to do all the extra work for something that they view as a smaller project.
Yeah.
So that's why we're hoping by fixing the bricks there, I mean, you can see them.
They're
When you leave the
popping
building, they're popping off everywhere due to the water runoff. Hopefully, so if we make it a bigger project, that might entice more interest into it.
There'd be subcontractors, obviously, but at least you have an overall contractor who would oversee the whole project. And so, yeah, it might require taking the brick off.
There's a coyote.
There's a coyote outside our window.
Nice.
Where? That's not. Where? Here it comes.
Oh, it might be the same one from our neighbor. We fell about it.
What are you going to do?
I mean,
Call the police. Did you see the one where they pulled the one out of the Aldi produce?
Yeah.
By the tail? I couldn't believe it when I saw that. It was like floored. Anyway, sorry, Mike, I'm going rambling here. Can you hear us okay?
You don't have to worry about your dog. I'm looking for some.
Okay, so anyway,
With a coyote.
that's all I have on that. Anybody else have any questions on that?
Oh, there he goes. He's probably looking for food and shelter.
Rabbit. He smells rabbit.
Either that or another
Hopefully not a little dog.
No, another coyote.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to the community center committee update.
We had a meeting this past week. Did a great recap for us, even on our staff, on all that heard from that. Our next meeting is going to be for our February county meeting on February 21st at 10 a.m. Friday.
February 21st.
The community
Our
center
next
meeting.
community center committee meeting.
Okay, when did you have the last one?
Last Friday.
Last Friday.
17th, Friday the 17th. Just really quickly, the electronic sign is working. It's doing well. Payment processing is going to be going live next week. The online programs, generators, bids are out. Passport processing is on staff currently. They're working on a 501c3 update and some renovations looking into for upcoming years.
Yep. This last Saturday at 10 a.m., Joe and I opened registration for current or past participants of Student Started Summer Camp, and it was full by 10:45. So, yeah. And thank goodness there's a little, he built in a little wiggle room for, I mean, when you're dealing with that kind of number, and just, yeah, the chaos out of it all, he built in a little cushion, and thankfully, because we found that there was an email that did not go out to one family, and I believe they were playing soccer with Missy and her kids, and so they came over, but we were able to accommodate that. Yes, he did build in that cushion from error or margin of error, so phew. Then yesterday was opening for, we already had a wait list just out of current participants, and then yesterday we opened it up to the rest of the township, and so we have several more on the wait list. And we canceled our programming yesterday, but we stayed open as a resource for folks if they needed to come in and get warmed up. Turns out no one did, but we did have a steady stream of people coming and sign up for camp. So that was fine.
You can thank the NBC News that ran about that, because they were talking about it this week, about if you don't have your summer camp planned now, you better get on it right now. I couldn't believe it was timing was everything.
It's just, it's just crazy. And I will say my hats off to the parents. They were really good, aside from a few at the end. But we're like, listen, we get it. We know just how crazy this is. So anyway, so that went really well. We're finalizing the second quarter newsletter. That'll go out in February. It'll go to the printer February 7th. So it's always one or the other one coming in. And I think I mentioned during our committee meeting, Lisa personally saw 192 seniors during open enrollment this year. So that's insane. And we're looking to out with some things for the next one, with the next, coming up this year. And as Lori mentioned, we're going to start looking into some renovations to accommodate or make space more flexible and usable.
Is iPad still today?
That's today
Okay,
at 3
today.
3/7.
3/7, okay.
And again, the digital sign, thank goodness we used it yesterday. Joe programmed it, so it said, programs are canceled, but we're open. And iPads is up there, so, and then today's back to its regular schedule of our programming.
The one thing about the iPads, I tried to contact Dan Conkey's office. I wasn't sure, can we drop off the old?
Yes, you can bring in your change.
Okay.
It's in tiny print,
Okay.
like in this first
I didn't
little.
see it. I commented and I thought someone
Yeah,
else commented.
it said bring it in.
Okay.
Trade it in, I guess.
Thank you.
Because they have a lithium battery in there, and they have to get.
Yeah,
dispose of
that's
them.
why I didn't want to throw it away.
Yeah.
I want to come to that. I caution you with that only because if you're going to go traveling, right? Like I was going to get a round car in Florida. They charged me to get toll, a transponder, $87.
What?
Right. So you can take, right now you can take yours with you, and it works in Florida. If you get rid of that and put that sticker up, I don't know what your recourse is. So that's why I want to ask today, because it's like you're giving up that mobility. Hopefully Illinois got some solution to that, but I don't know what it is.
I will say my husband just did the same thing, because we also have, you can have more than one vehicle registered under those.
Yeah.
And like when our one son comes to town, we throw it in his, and you can't do that with the sticker.
Right,
Yeah.
they move it.
Yeah, so that's what I want to find out.
So keep both of them.
Right.
Well, yeah, in theory, the ones you had expire at some point,
Right.
but
Hopefully by then they get this situated where you
Right.
can, there must be a way to use your sticker number and be able to pay for that.
right.
That toll when you're out of state
And they
anyway. I don't know how
do.
that works.
Get another sticker and just tape it up on it.
And they do sell those things, it's like a piece of plastic, like that film almost, like you could put, the window cleans, that's what we're looking for. They're clear window cleans, and then you put that on first, and then you put the sticker on that.
Oh,
And then that would be transferable.
okay.
Yeah, or maybe in their database, your license plate shows
Yeah,
up,
maybe.
right, and you're okay. I don't know.
Yeah, that is a great question, though.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, John.
Okay, anything else for community? Okay, we'll move on to communications. We are not meeting until, our meeting is not scheduled until tomorrow. We're going to, at least I don't even know what we're talking about. The new banner is up.
New banner's up, and actually people are loving it, so.
Okay, good. The new banner's up.
It's good timing.
I know we're going to be talking about the upcoming newsletter, that one, we're going to get that ready to go out. And of course, with being an election year, we'll have to update the resident guide. So we're working on changes on that. But some can be changed already. Jessica can start working on it, but some won't. We'll have to wait till after the election. So the meeting tomorrow is at 10.
Sorry, let me interrupt 1 second. And I just want to preemptively tell everybody the back of the April, May, June newsletter will be this current board, just simply because there's no way for us to not have that happen. Unless we left. The back of the April, May, April, May, June newsletter will be the same as it is now. We won't be able to have it updated.
Of course.
This is the first time we're meeting since the gift track for the seniors, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's true.
that was a huge success, I think. We did really well with the...
We had a lot of gifts donated, yeah. And lots of boxes went to 2 centers. Did you ever hear back from them? Like, nothing at all?
For what, sorry?
For our gift drive for our 2, like, Coventard, the seniors that live in senior living areas. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't hear anything from them. That's pretty rude of you, that's me. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they're working on it.
They're probably
A short
Yeah.
Probably short staff.
But I had talked to the administrators too, and yeah, I guess I didn't think about that, but yeah, I never heard anything back from them.
Okay. All right, so yeah, you're right, that was left. This is the first time we're meeting since then. Over the holidays, it's just like, it's been a blur. It's been a blur. Okay, health and wellness.
Health and wellness, we met on a week ago today, right? Sarah interject, as far as events, nothing planned, had a very good holiday season, very good results. Lending Closet, Sarah's doing well, really well, and we're in the process of changing that, but allow that pending Sarah's return. And speaking of Sarah's return, we're hopefully, we got that all worked out. She's probably coming back to work June 1. And as far as being available, we're also available a couple hours a week if we need her, and Betsy's got her as a resource. And then back in the office on June 30th. And then January typically a slower month, and then we start picking up from there. And then Betsy gets everything to take care of with Sarah as a resource. So with that said, I think that's anything you want to add to that, Sarah?
Just that our lending closet is pretty full, so we have put a pause on accepting donations at this point. And yeah, but you kind of hit all the things.
Okay. It's a good knowledge.
Then Doug, you have that written down and give it to me.
Okay.
Betsy, do you have anything you want to add?
No.
Okay.
No, that's fine.
Okay. We're counting on you next month.
She's been trained in most of the things, and hopefully, the Time Pro, it's always a little confusing. She did that last week, so hopefully that went well. Well, everybody got paid, so I guess it went well. They didn't.
They didn't, you would have heard.
Yeah. So I think we're set. And like Doug said, I'm going to meet with her once a week to maintain supervision and to maintain our, the license and everything. And we'll just go from there.
All right, well, we wish you all the best and good luck.
My last day.
Friday, right?
The 31st, next
Okay.
Friday.
Oh, next Friday.
Unless something happens sooner.
Okay.
So other than that, yeah.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on to Parks and Recreation. Steve Day.
Yeah, you said Mike on the phone?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll turn it over to Mike. Mike?
All right, good morning, everybody. I miss you all.
We miss you.
The only thing I really have for parks is we finally got the quote for the replacement of the mowing trailer. I believe that was sent over to you and Ted, Gloria.
Correct.
Did you guys get that?
We have it, yep.
Okay, yeah, $10,723. That was the only thing I really had for parks. I know they had a hard time getting us to quote because they said they couldn't get that size trailer for us, but I think it was just, that was just more of an excuse. But we finally got it, and once we get that approved, we can order that, and I think they said that lead time on it is minimal, a week or two.
Okay, great. This comes out of the parks budget. This is what gets attached to the park trucks. They go around all the facilities and put all their mowing equipment and whatever, the blowers and everything goes on there. So it's for all parks trailer.
It's under what we budgeted.
And it was budgeted, correct. So we would like to get it out of this year's budget. So
Okay, give me the price
I
again.
think it's at $10,370. Mike?
I thought it said 723.
$10,723.
Sorry, $10,723. Okay. So that'll be on the agenda. The quote for approval at the next board meeting in February. Okay. Then we'll go on to highway.
Larry's not here, Mike, so.
Okay, the only thing the only thing I did have to talk about was we had a couple minor events with the weather. Nothing major. The guys went out and put some salt down. I don't think they even had to try to drop their plows at all. And I know that we're going to get a little bit more today, so things have been going pretty well over there. Trying to keep busy. It's been cold, but we still have some stuff that had to be taken care of outside. So the guys stayed as warm as they could. I did get notified that the truck that we ordered 2 years ago, now, truck 2,
Yep.
the chassis has been delivered to Benell to have the rest of the truck built. Unfortunately, from what Benell told us, is that there's 100 trucks in line before us to be built. So they were in the same situation as we were, trying to get chassis going. All of a sudden, all these chassis come in at one time, and he goes by the order date. So all these trucks that are sitting there were ordered before us. At least that's what the information we're getting. So we're going to stay on it. We'll see. He's still telling us that we should get that by November of this year, which is good news. And then we talked to Rush Trucks, who we ordered the chassis from. They're the company that did not get the chassis through International. Got an email from them recently saying that they have availability for a chassis to replace our truck 5, which is our low-pro truck. Now, when we talked to him, probably the end of last year, he said that they don't have any of these chassis. They don't foresee them coming anytime in the near future. Now, all of a sudden, we get an email saying that he's got them and he can have them ready for August, September production. So this would be a chassis to replace our truck 5s. Yes, our truck 5, which is the low-pro truck. We do not have a total for the chassis and the total build on that. We're waiting for Macro Benell to give us the final numbers on that. But we're looking to put that into the budget for next year. And then if they're going to make an August, September production for the chassis, I'm assuming we probably have the total truck by the middle of, probably late summer, early fall of next year, hopefully, for wintertime.
So that T5 is really the 26, 27 budget? If it's not till next summer?
No, that would be 25, 26 budget.
So it's going to come, now if the chassis is not delivered until August, this is
correct.
It's the 25, 26 budget. So if we don't get it to the following summer, finished, it would be 20.
Correct. It would be the following year's budget then.
Yeah, 26, 27.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
These things take a long time, apparently. That's the business to get into.
Right.
Okay. I didn't realize it was 26, 27 for that one. Okay.
But they're old by the time we get them.
Yeah. Just the chassis.
No, just the chassis.
Just the body, you know.
Just the body, okay. I can identify it.
We all can. And then we had the gutter. The gutters were also talked about at the highway meeting.
Yeah, we had some gutters that need to be replaced on the 2 buildings at the highway department. We called 3 companies. Only one came out to give us a quote, and I believe it was about $2,700 to replace a bunch of gutters.
$2,900.
Downspouts.
$2,900.
$2,900.
Yeah. No problem. So that'll be on the agenda also for next February to approve. This February to approve. Okay. Anything else, Mike?
That's all I got.
Anybody got
Mike,
any?
yeah, I don't know if this was had for Mike. Remember when we talked about the highway and the roads? We're going to update the road between Jeff and him. Was that ever done?
The role?
The
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Oh, it was done?
Mhm.
Okay. Did you send it out?
I did.
to us? Oh, sorry.
I mean, I can resend it to the top of your email.
Okay, please. Thank you.
She said that.
She has to have the job descriptions the updated job descriptions for you and Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
We'll resend them.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay. Bus service is going along. I know the new bus was ordered. I signed the documentation for the license plate, so I don't know the exact status of it, but I will email it and hopefully have an answer before the next board meeting. If we have any idea when it might begin.
And then speaking of bus, I reached out to the 2 residents that were using the other township's bus service, and thankfully, so far, Lake County has been able to accommodate them with minimal issues. So it's best case scenario for everybody. So I'm going to keep checking in periodically just because it's important, given the reason for why they use the service. So, but so far, so good.
Yeah, that was a relief, let me tell you.
Big relief, yeah.
So I'm glad it's working out. Okay, Penny is not here. She's home with, she just recently had surgery, so she's off this week. Historic Society, nothing really new there. I'm going to be meeting an architectural engineer tomorrow. over at the building. I met one once before, and he never got back to us with a report. We have not paid him any money. So now I'm meeting a gentleman out there to, because if they want to put in new flooring, I thought it best that we ensure the floor, first of all, can support all the stuff they have on there, and to make it level before we put new flooring down, whatever it be. That I'll be meeting him today, and we'll get a report on what it would cost to have the structural engineer do a report on it. So, yes, ma'am.
On Facebook, on every Tuesday, the Historic Society puts in pictures of old Lake Zurich, if anybody's interested, and then we all answer who remember what these buildings were.
To begin with,
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's very kind of exciting.
Every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday.
I'm following it, yeah.
Yeah,
Really.
I fight with Jack Breck all the time.
Okay. All right. And then under cemetery, the only thing I have to report is, I'll report on this later on under topics for consideration. So, if we don't have any questions, we'll move on to training for newly elected officials.
So when I first started, I met with each trustee one-on-one just to kind of get a feel for the lay of the land. And one thing that multiple trustees brought up to me is they wish there was a more formal training when they took on this position. And with the elections coming up and not knowing the outcomes, I'm proposing bringing in a individual with a wealth of experience in kind of teaching the roles to the newly elected board, whether there's minimal turnover or maximum turnover. I just think having a formal refresher on OMA laws, FOIA laws, meeting the court, just all that stuff that goes into being a trustee or a supervisor. So when they get in their first meeting, they're more well versed and just kind of learning as they go. There are programs for newly elected officials through TOI and other MTA has them as well, but those are all downstate on the weekends. So I don't know how willing or likely someone is to drive down to Springfield for a weekend for an all-day training. So this would be an alternative to that. I gave you guys the two options that he came back to me with. The first one, I included 2 days of training, including going the second day, like going on mini field trips to each department in each building and having the department head kind of teach what each building does and what each department does. I don't know that expense is necessary for that time, so I asked him to revise it, and that's why there's that second quote for the $2,800 that condenses it all into 1 day and 1 meeting spot. So, yeah.
So, well, my thought is we don't really need to keep, if we're interested in moving forward with this, I don't think we need to include a 3-hour board roadshow. I mean, we can all do that on our own. We've done that this year. 4 years ago, had township trustees go around who were new to just talk to the department heads, and they can give them the lay of the land. I don't think we need to pay him to do it, since they know it better than he would know it. That's my opinion. But how does everybody else feel about having this training?
What?
Good or bad?
Why are we getting someone from Central Illinois?
Yeah, so the only individual who does this kind of stuff up here doesn't do township trainings. That Peter Bouchard, the other, he gave us quotes for the executive training, but he doesn't do new board trainings for townships.
So, Carrie, when I did the TOI training 4 years ago, it was online, so it was virtual, and it didn't cover a lot of things that should have been covered. But Carrie Lynn was part of the training, so our attorneys don't do any of this type of training.
Is this part of the Springfield event? Okay.
They did it virtually. Yeah, because it was very,
So they might do it as a part of TOI, but I don't know that they do it individually. I honestly didn't ask her if they would do justice.
Just to get someone up, I mean, she should know the law.
Right, yeah, sure, for sure.
And townships.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting because, not to change the subject, but even like this Department of Information Technology, they talk about, changing it from .org to GOV, which we're going to be talking about later, they all talk about villages, they all talk about all these, but they never mention townships. Nobody ever mentions townships.
Yeah.
It's just,
So my idea was just to talk to them because they were a big part of the COI training.
Yeah, Carrie Lynn's very connected to COI for sure.
Right. So I just wasn't really impressed with his resume or the proposals he did. I didn't like that. I don't know. I just, he did have referrals on there, township referrals. It's just,
actually, his referrals are not township.
yeah, I'm just saying,
Oh.
he had a lot of referrals. He did a lot of talking, but not a lot of meat. You know, there was this like project. It just seemed like very old school. We're not going to learn anything anyway, so why are we paying? I mean, and it's not a huge amount of money, but if we're paying money, let's get someone who really knows, like, his bullet points and.
Okay, yeah, I heard.
Have you talked to Carrie Lynn about holding the class?
Well, that's what she does.
What's that? That's who I've had in the past.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So just to get a second,
sure. See if she can do something just for us.
I just wasn't really impressed with the proposal.
So the references are villages and cities.
Yeah.
Right,
And the
And they're all
township.
downstate. which
and it's completely different.
Right.
Than township.
Okay.
But thank you for the foresight and looking into it.
Put a pause on that until we can get some more information.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll switch from .org to .gov.
So right now, the Ely Township page is elytownship.org, and it is best practice for government websites to have a .gov domain. It builds trust with the, because anybody can make a .org. So you could, put a 1 instead of the L in Ely, and it'd be a ransomware, So, but .govs are vetted. Only governments can have them. So it's most recommended that all governments be a .gov. So to switch from .org to .gov would only include a $500 conversion fee from Proud City, who hosts our current domain, and then just switching all that over to the .gov. Now, if somebody types in elytownship.org, it will direct them to the .gov website. So we don't.
So you're not switching your ad. You're keeping the .org domain as well.
The .org is hosted on the .gov. So.
It's a different domain.
So you're keeping them.
You're keeping .org.
Yeah, I mean,
In your head,
in all intents and purposes, yes, but we're not paying for both.
Right.
Great. And so the switch from .org to .gov in itself is free. There's $500 from Proud City to move all the stuff over. Now, all of our emails can still remain trustee for DK, trustee Sam's at elytownship.org, so it doesn't have to happen all at once. But like this conversion, I just think it's important to do to switch it from the .org to .gov.
Was there a reason why we never started this way?
So you have to go back to the days.
Gosh, it used to be .com.
Yeah.
It was everybody had a different email. It was wonky. Will we be changing over though to emails.gov?
Yeah, so I have Val with the Kind, our IT company. They're looking into what all that would mean. Eventually, the goal would be to get there, obviously, because otherwise we'll go to elytownship.gov, but email me at .org.
Right.
But it will not happen simultaneously.
Okay. Because I will say I get spammed.
Right.
I'm in a lot of people's spam and
Yes.
Because you're .com?
because I'm done.
Or-
.org rather, yeah.
Yes.
What's the timing of this if we approve?
So it's going to be dependent on the government giving us the elytownship.org or .gov domain. Once we get that, it won't take Proud City much more than 2 weeks, they said, to switch it over. But getting the .gov domain could take some time. But then that's dependent on the government.
So the only cost is $500.
$500.
And eventually then, yeah, once we would get that, we would have to change, business cards eventually and all that sort of thing. But
We stagger the thing.
Isn't there such a thing, if somebody emails you with the ORG, that it automatically switches over to Go?
like forwarded, yeah, that's what
Yeah, I think it does. Check on that, what you think?
If somebody emails me,
It's for
You got it.
oh, yeah.
Yes, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay? Hunt? Okay.
We got your name, Ted?
I've been called worse.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on that?
So are we deciding now, or
I mean,
we can vote on it
I mean,
before?
it says it's like
Larry
500,
is
so
here?
technically I can just do it because it's $100.
Okay.
But I don't want to do it without, you know,
Of course.
like, hey guys, just so you know, we're now, it'll come to that up.
Right, without making you guys know aware of it.
Of course.
Yeah, so I was gonna move forward unless there was an objection.
I don't see a reason to object.
No.
Right, there isn't, but
And it's not a ton of money. I mean, eventually there'll be some, things to change.
I think it adds credibility.
And that's exactly what it does.
Yeah.
And we're trying- and
Everything's changing this year.
it's got more security behind it as well.
Right.
So, and we should be recognized as a government entity, even though some people don't seem to think townships even exist.
That's right, yeah.
Only when they make the news.
Yes,
Yeah.
oh, yes. Okay, so we'll move on to Lake Zurich Fairfield Cemetery Veterans Plot Markers. In our committee meetings in the last 2 years, we've been discussing getting these markers. Jeff designed it, our manager designed it. With the idea.
yeah, so down the table.
Well, I don't want, it's got a point to it.
Oh, okay.
I'll put it on your paper.
Okay.
So it'll go on the ground, obviously, and what it does is it'll have, it's going to have a medallion here that says veteran. We'll have a veteran medallion here. So during the regular year, it'll look like this. But then when it's winter time, Christmas time, this will hold the wreath, because right now the wreaths just lay on the ground on the headstones because we have no place to hang them. And then during like Veterans Day, Memorial Day, this will hold American flag. Because right now the Boy Scouts have a hard time locating all the veterans in the cemeteries. And we started doing some piping, but they get broken when the guys cut the grass, and it's been kind of messy.
The only thing is, isn't that going to blow away?
No, this is going in the ground.
Far, I hope.
Well, yeah, probably up to here, just so enough so that the wreath shows. So probably up to here in the ground. This is pretty heavy. So
All right, I've seen houses blow away.
okay.
Nice.
So we have this is stainless steel, so it won't rust. Anyway, like I said, Jeff's been working on the design. He finally got to work with the fabricator to see how many he can get cut out of a certain piece of material. We have to go with 100, I think it's 150, which is 2 sheets of whatever he's got, the stainless steel. They bring in about 150 of them. We need 120 of them. And over the years, there has not been consistency with what takes place at the Fairfield Cemetery versus the Lake Zurich Cemetery. And we're trying to be consistent with that because we're all townships. So, and it does take volunteers to some degree. So, anyway, this will make it easier for the volunteers to locate the veterans. So we're asking for approval. And the total, here, I have a picture of the medallion if you'd like to look at it. There you go. So you can see, I'm sorry, the medallion's going below that star. So the total cost, where's my quote go? I know I have it here. Here it is. The total quote is about, it's $105 each with the medallion and the grave marker. $105 each.
And how many do you need?
So we have to order 150 to take advantage of the 2 sheets. So that comes to a total of $15,750. So we would like to put that on the agenda for approval. Next
So
month.
we buy it for the
Grave.
for the grave. Okay.
I don't think the grave owner is going to buy it.
No,
Is that standard? I mean, I don't. Is that?
we're not asking them to.
Oh, okay. So it's something that a service that we're providing for our residents.
Correct. For our cemetery residents.
Yeah.
And did you like to buy the wreaths?
So in the past, we have gotten some donations on the wreaths, but we have enough wreaths for, one year we did Wreaths Over America, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And we asked for donations, and we didn't get enough, so we ended up paying for the rest of them. Carol Sullivan always handles the Fairfield Cemetery, and her and her family always goes out and puts them out there.
Is she a board member?
She's a board member.
Okay.
And she has, she currently has wreaths for all the cemeteries, all the gravestones there. She's going to need a few new ones because some have got destroyed or they're just breaking apart over the years. But we do not have any for the Lake Zurich Cemetery, so that would be a purchase we would have to make this year. And the flags, the Boy Scouts usually put out, so we have enough flags at the moment. Those are the two part of the whole thing, actually.
So she has wreaths at her house?
She stores, sometimes she stores them at her house, sometimes she stores them at the highway department upstairs.
Do you need to get approval from the family to put these on there?
Our cemetery. Then they're going. So you have the grave, you have the headstone, and this thing's going right behind the headstone.
Yeah, so they can mold, right?
So that
Yeah.
So is that going on what they purchased?
They don't want it.
Right, it's
going behind it.
It's going right behind the headstone. So yeah.
And
Any
some
other
of more
questions?
families will be happy.
I would think so.
You think so?
I would think they'd be
Yeah.
nice to touch our cemetery. So any other questions? I can get answers if I don't know the answer.
Is this budgeted in the budget?
It wasn't, but there is money in the budget. And I don't know at this point even if we'll have them all in time to pay for out of this budget.
And where would the rest be stored? The highway department?
Yes. Because they most likely will be the ones that will go out and put them out there. As
Does
needed.
it say in the tombstone that they're a veteran?
Some of them do. It depends if the veterans pay for the headstone. Sometimes the families do it for whatever reason, and if the government pay for it, it does say veteran. Because those are free from the government.
The headstone?
If you're a veteran, the government will pay for a free one.
Oh, my
But
God.
it's very basic.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay? Because I know my father-in-law has one, and I know that it does not match my mother-in-law's. So
Well, I don't want Don's to look better than mine.
it won't.
Okay.
Okay. It's very simple. Okay, any other questions on that? Okay, so I think it's a beautiful addition to our cemetery, so I'd like to get that approved. If you have any questions, let me know. We'll get them answered before the meeting. All right, next is updates to BSNA software, the fun one. Here we go.
Okay, so I apologize in advance for the long-windedness of this, but I do think I'm going to start from the beginning just so we all have this exact picture. So in 2019, the township purchased BSNA. It's our accounting software. In BSNA, there are 3 modules: general ledger, accounts payable, and payroll. Those 3, BSNA is the lifeblood of the township. Everything we do financial runs through BSNA. Those 3 modules take up 454 gigabytes of data. Oh yeah, Mike. Mike, you can drop off whenever. 454 gigabytes of data. We don't have any servers in the township, so we don't have the computing space to store that data. So the decision was made when we went with BSNA to essentially lease 500 gigabytes of storage space on BC3's servers. So up until the end of last year, that data was stored in a data center in Michigan. So it's a giant warehouse with millions of computers, tons of servers, and in 454 gigabytes of data was our BSNA. So every day when Kathy and Lena wanted to access BSNA, they log into BC3 first. Then they're able to log into BSNA. So to get to BSNA, we need the storage space that BC3 was giving us. We paid BC3 annually every October to store for 1 year, starting November 1st, going through the following October. So at the October board meeting, the township board approved spending $1,300 for November 1st, 2024 through October 31st, 2025. On Friday, December 13th, I know this exact date because it's when I took the kids to go see Santa Claus, I got an email from BC3 asking what we were planning on doing about their migration to the cloud. So on the Monday, the first thing, I was looking through my emails to see what I could have possibly missed in communications with BC3. No email. I asked Gloria. She had no email. I asked the info app. no emails. So I immediately get on the phone with the representative from VC3. I'm like, we didn't get any emails. Their response was, well, no, it would have come, even though his email said I would have been contacted via email. He said it would have come in the mail. So
Back in April.
Back in April, because they knew they were closing the warehouse in Michigan in April. So I'm like, okay. So I went to Jessica. I'm like, did we get any mail from VC3? The last piece of mail we received from VC3 was in 2019, and it was their W-9, so we can put them in as a vendor. So there was no heads up that this was happening. And basically, they're saying December 31st, if we don't agree to these increase in pricing and these migration fees, we're going to lose BSNA. So Lori and I got on the phone with Mitch from VC3 and basically put the fear of God in him, because he gave us 2 weeks, essentially, to find a new alternative, or we lose all fundamental payroll, monetary part of what the township does. So that could not happen.
Plus, the most interesting part was that we got the bill in October.
Exactly.
Is that where you were going?
Yeah,
Okay, go
exactly.
ahead.
So then our question to him was, if you guys knew in April that you were closing in December, why did you bill us in October for the current services if you knew 2 months later these services were no longer going to be available? He didn't have a good answer for that. So I got on the phone then with BSNA, and they said even if we found a new competitor of VC3 that day, it would be 3 months before the conversion could take place. So working with VC3.
What is VC3?
VC3 is the
BSNA is what is VC3.
VC3 is where we store the data.
Okay, so that is, okay.
So they waived the migration fee, and they agreed not to bill us the updated rate until the transition to the cloud actually happens, which leads me to believe if we just blatantly agreed with them, they were going to start charging us before the migration actually happened. So since then, basically right now we have 5 options. We can do nothing and just stay with VC3 and pay their updated rate. We save the $750 migration fee, but just going forward, it's going to be like $4,000. It's like $4,200 a year to be on their cloud versus $1,300 a year to be on their computer. So we can do nothing and just stay with the status quo. We can find a competitor to VC3 in which I'm talking to 3 of them, only one of them is willing to work with us because of the size of the data. We're not that much computing space, but they also would be in the cloud. So I don't have their rate yet because they need IT-specific things from BSNA that BSNA hasn't provided them yet. But no matter what we do there's going to be a migration fee. So I don't know if that's the best option either. We can buy a server, in the quote that I provided you from Dakine, is $12,000, and that's just for the hardware. Then we need additional licensing. Then we need to make sure that there's annual upkeep of that server. So that's also a possibility if that's what we so choose.
But there's a but on that too. But eventually, even if we bought our own server now and spent the money, it might only be good for 2 to 3 years because BSNA is going to force us to go to cloud.
Yeah, so that was the next thing. So yeah, the next thing is so right now the type of BSNA, and this is a really bad analogy, but I'm a gamer, so we're just going to go with it. We're like on their PS2 version, the second version of PlayStation 2, where the PlayStation 5 is out.
Like an iPhone 2.
Exactly, yeah, or an iPhone, yeah, right. So we're on the iPhone 10. And they just released iPhone 16.
Right.
So we can go to the iPhone 16 cloud version of BSNA, which is their cloud platform. If we did that, we could drop VC3 completely, because then all of the data is stored directly with BSNA. And so that's the quote that I provided you. It's $7,000 a year, $7,200 a year for BSNA's system. And then there's a $15,000 migration fee. Now, to me, that is an extremely high cost for when they already have our data. So I'm working with the sales guy to see if we can bring that down. So far, the only thing he's given me is they can delay billing, so we're not charged the $15,000 up front. We can, break that up over time so it's more palatable payments. There's that option. Then the fifth and final option would be to go to a different company's cloud program. And so immediately what I did, backtracking a little bit, was I reached out to all the townships. What do you guys use? Surprisingly, the majority of them use QuickBooks, which QuickBooks is a generic business accounting platform, and so one thing I like about BSNA is it's geared towards governments, and so it keeps all of our files and all of our reports government
ready, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, they are. It's easy. I know what report has to be done, and they
So-
can do it.
so that is a possibility. Admittedly, I haven't looked into that. The next biggest one with the most responses was this company called MSI, which the company is Harris, and MSI is one of their platforms. Harris was, I guess, in contention back in 2019 when the decision was made to go with BSNA. The nice thing about the Harris is it includes employee clocking in and clocking out. We've had a lot of issues with TimePro. And the reason for that is because we have so many kind of one-off situations that everything is standardized with TimePro, and so it doesn't align with what we need. So there's a lot, I don't want to overplay it, but there have been quite a few times where we've had to redo something in payroll because TimePro and BSNA didn't communicate correctly. So if we were to go with this other company, we would drop the TimePro expense, and they charge us monthly based on users, so it fluctuates, but the average is $213 a month for TimePro. And I have all this in the spreadsheets. The problem is I don't have all the pricing yet from everybody, so I didn't want to present it because I have a lot of unknown, and that's not going to help anybody. So where we are, the longer we stick with VC3, if a decision is ultimately made to migrate to some other company, that's money that we've essentially used up from our. One thing I didn't mention was in October when we paid them the $1,300, they're using that now as a credit, and so the next invoice from VC3 won't come in until we've exhausted that $1,300. So that $400 a month that they're going to charge us now will be taken out of that $1,300 that we paid them in October, and once that money is exhausted, then they'll start billing us monthly with $406. So it has been a insane month trying to square all this out.
The easiest thing would be to stick with VC3, but I don't have any confidence with them right now, based on what has happened in the last year. They said they mailed letters, they said they sent us emails, we've got nothing. It's also right now the cheapest that we know of, because we wouldn't have to change BSNA software at all. Yes, it's $400 a month, but we have to have some kind of backup. And I think at the end, if we need to go to the cloud, it doesn't make sense to spend the money on our own server right now. That's my opinion. It should go right to the cloud. We shouldn't mess with that, right? So, that would be the easiest, but I don't have any confidence with them. They keep switching stories.
Doug, you used to audit townships and governments and such. What's your opinion on this?
I remember the software, which was either BSNA or the other one you mentioned.
Harris?
MSI.
And my memory was that they each had their in-house server. I don't remember having to be
In the cloud.
in the cloud.
Yeah,
now, technology's probably changed to the point where that's become more prevalent. But what's getting me in your comment is QuickBooks. QuickBooks has got specific industry modules.
Yep.
They probably, my gut is they have a governmental practice monitoring. And then everything in them, I think, is in the cloud now. So from getting a cost and being able to utilize that, if you step back, our township accounting is, I don't want to say pretty basic, but it's pretty basic. We're cash basis. We're not using accrual. We don't have a tax. We're not booking taxes receivable. We're saying cash in, cash out. So there's probably a lot more capabilities in this BSA software that we don't utilize, right, because of the method of accounting we're on. So QuickBooks would probably be, for a lack of, quote, sophistication, QuickBooks could be an alternative. I'm sure we're paying more for BSNA than we're using. And you can double check that.
We're only paying for 3 modules. There are more modules. We just never signed up for those. And did they have a time card? I forgot. Did they have a time card?
Ooh.
BSNA module that we didn't sign up for?
No.
No, they did not. That's how we did those.
They don't have it. Even BSNA's cloud platform doesn't have a time card. So we would need to keep TimePro or some other third-party vendor.
Okay.
If I could chime in about time pro, I hate it. It is very inefficient on my end for when you have, so for instance, PTO doesn't show up when we're trying to approve time cards. You can't look and see requests or approval or anything like that. We've had a lot of instances lately of people putting in for 4 hours of PTO, and then when I go to approve time cards, it has them in for 8 hours of PTO, which they never requested. And if I don't know, and having a larger staff, if I don't remember that, and luckily I keep all of their, you get an email when they request. If I didn't keep any of that, there would be bigger problems because it takes doing payroll a lot longer than it should because it should be very automated and very easy and transparent, and it's not at all. So that's my perspective.
Well, again, part of the problem is every department is different. I mean, as far as the PTO, earning the PTO stays the same, but like the hours are different.
This was straight up Jim. Jim requested 4 hours of PTO,
Yeah.
and Lena and I were all looking at it, and it showed up on his time card as 8 hours of PTO requested.
Well, and then also this last payroll, it had Susan requesting 8 hours on Saturday.
On Saturday, which is ironic because I work Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
it's
it wouldn't be
just
that you
little
would
things like
request
that.
PTO
I got a camera on you.
And I just fear that if specifically talking about payroll, if we have a third party, if we have a separate one vendor to clock in and out, and we have to upload it to another party, there's always going to be some sort of miscommunication that happens.
So what are our possibilities right now? So in what you gave us was a lot to look at, and I've asked for this a lot of times, is having a summary on the top of kind of what you just explained to us. This is where we are, this is where we're going.
Yes.
And so what are our options right now?
Well, part of it was in his email on Friday, and like he just said, he doesn't have all the numbers yet.
I know, but just this explanation would have been great to have,
That's a lot to, even if you type it out, it's a lot to. Personally, I don't want to leave BSNA. Personally, I don't want to.
So what we're talking about is $400 a month, right?
Yeah.
So listen, to me, that's...
Yeah, but I don't trust them. Do you trust
Pardon?
them? I don't trust them.
Well, that's my only reservation, is your comment there.
Yeah.
But
I said the same thing, Reggie, when I looked at to see what BSNA wanted to charge to migrate and go to the cloud. I think it's ridiculous, especially since we're already with them and spending money with them. But I just don't trust his responses, and we don't get the letters, the communication's terrible. And then, are we stuck with TimePro then? No.
If we stick with BSNA, we would need we can get off TimePro, but we would need a different vendor.
Another vendor, okay.
Or we can go back to the paper timesheet.
Oh boy. So, my personal opinion is I would like to stick with BSNA. We just paid them another $2,900, was it, to have it change over our chart of accounts to make room for two of the funds to come over into the town fund. I mean, it's just like, I don't know.
yeah, to me, you got to look at this disruption too of our staff and this transition and the cost of that.
And it's a whole new learning curve for everybody in my department, too. And for, all the department heads are going to have to be forced to learn new software for time cards if that comes.
Are they willing to give us some price lock on this $400 a month?
Well,
Is that
it's for the year.
it's 1 year?
Yeah, and until the end
So
of.
this would be using VC3 at 400
Yes.
a month?
Correct.
And there's still migration fee.
No, they
No,
won't.
Oh, they're waiving that part. Okay, that's right, they're waiving that part. Okay, sorry.
I thought
I'm getting mixed up.
$750 migration fee.
And they waive that, yes.
Okay.
So your apprehension is they're staying in business?
No, I think it's more like they're just the way they kind of sprung all of this on us.
Communication.
I mean,
Yeah.
December 13th, I mean, that's 2 weeks before the end of the year. I mean, why not?
After we paid a year contract already.
If you think you sent me a letter in April, follow up in June, July. Why are you following up 2 weeks before the end of the year during the holiday season? So, yeah, it was not.
Sneaky.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what I said.
Yes.
I think more we don't, but I'm okay with keeping it at $400 per month at this point, but I think, I don't think it's not, like you said, I don't think it's going to be all the same with them.
I agree.
But I think the more.
That's why I'm okay with spending our due diligence and making sure that we're comfortable with the next step, even, because it is only costing us $400 a month. I shouldn't say only, but it's less than some of the other ones are offering. And then again, if we don't, then we might have to get a whole new software, which is going to take more studying. And who do we go with? We've already looked at Harris, and we already,
And QuickBooks, those are.
we haven't looked at QuickBooks in depth yet. We only looked at Harris. And it's just complicated.
It is. I mean, it's also for the future too. It's not.
It is.
You know.
Well, and that's the other thing.
We've had BSNA, I think, since 17, 19, sorry, 19. And,
the beauty of it, they're geared for public sector, government accounting. So, and they've got.
but I think so is Harris.
But well, Harris is actually, I mean, to take that a step further, they're actually geared specifically towards the state of Illinois.
Oh, that's right.
They're,
So let's look at both of those and, talk about it next meeting.
Right, we just wanted to let you know
Oh,
the predicament
yeah,
we're
well-
in right now and how we've been spending our time this
Yeah.
last month.
a lot of underdogs, yes.
Yeah, a lot of Zoom calls and,
You have this all written down?
yeah, it's all here. Okay.
I didn't get it.
All right.
I
And
want
just to answer your question, we have $100,000 in capital improvements for this project. If we
For
spend it.
this, for
Well,
this-
it's in the community, it's in the cemetery fund.
Yeah.
It's not specifically private.
Right. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. All right, so any other discussions come forward?
With MSI, do we still have to use time pro?
No, we would drop the time pro because they have a module to allow people. So one of,
I'm just thinking of the feedback from
Oh,
the
yeah.
users. saying-
Yeah, we have heard,
Okay, you've heard it.
we've heard the complaints
yeah, and
for months, but
But you said you would like to stay with BSA.
because I would like to, but not at that cost.
Right.
That seems kind of high compared to some of the other companies. But again, if we go off of that and go to Harris, now we're buying a whole new software. So that's going to have a huge expense as well. So we have to take that into consideration.
So
Other?
if it's not on the agenda, can you bring it up?
Oh, yeah, you wanted to bring up something.
Yeah, well, just for everybody's thought process, security and access in here, from the standpoint of a board meeting, this meeting, to me, safeguards, we have no safeguards, right? So, and people refuse to sign in at times, and whatever it may be, are we, I don't know, we're trusting everything else, but the other side is, are we being kind of naive by not saying, okay, what if, right? Because if what if, we've got, municipalities have their police officers, right? There's a policeman there. I'm not saying that, that's, from the standpoint of what's happening, we have great exposure, but best practice would say, what was your security? And if we say, yeah, we trust everybody, which we do, then it's a moot point. But conversely, should we be considering some type of safeguard, if that's the word, as far as security in board meetings, these meetings, whatever it may be, as a best practice? But maybe I'm just throwing that out. Yes.
I will tell you, I brought up for years I thought the same thing. And as we all have been witness to, some of the meetings, particularly board meetings, have been very contentious with public comment or people coming in. And yeah, I will say my husband often has said, "Why are you going?" Because he does not feel that I'm safe.
Oh.
So, anybody else have a comment?
Yeah, as far as physical option.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an option, but I think also just to have it be public, that if we had more, have it be on Zoom or Facebook Live or like what some other municipalities doing, just so people could see what's going on, would be help, have it, just so it's still transparent. But during those meetings, my husband was saying the same thing about it. I mean, we all said it.
Everyone says, no, not here, until it is here.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think we should have a backup plan or a plan for everything, and I think it's a good point.
So I know there was a big, and I can't think of the company name, but there was a big conference that took place, I think, back in December. It was in Florida about technology and security. And there was this one company that, and it's like at the airport or where you walk through security, and they were even questioning not how safe those are, but how good they may be. And there was even doubt that people still walk through it. In fact, it was, I think, in a high school that they had those things where you could walk through, and that people were still able to get in with objects that they shouldn't, whatever that may be. And so there's a cost to that as well. And where do we put it? I'm guessing at the entrance of this door, or do we have to put it at all the doors?
But what if it goes off? Who's going to believe it?
Exactly.
Exactly. Right. We're not going to.
I'm not hiring somebody to.
It's been attached to the police department, I think. How about a panic button like we got upstairs?
Well, we could get one installed, but it might be too late for that.
But we get them in the end.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm open to ideas.
And they won't sign in anymore. I don't know why. I put the papers up, they won't sign in, so we don't know who's here.
They don't even want to give.
What if we put a podium right in front? So, like, literally, it would, and with the sign-in sheet, and just a sign saying you must, all guests must sign in.
They don't have to.
They don't know.
I'm going to say, if they don't, who's going to be the one that's like, you can't.
Right.
You're going to be Barney Fife over
Yeah.
there.
And it's with a baby in your arms.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You deal with people.
Yes.
They won't hit you.
So I don't really know. I guess we can talk to the attorney about it, but
Yeah.
I don't know how to handle it.
Is there a possibility of any of the municipalities letting one of their officers be here for that?
There's a fee.
Okay.
There's a fee.
Well, nothing's going to be free.
No, I know that. Even if buying equipment's going to cost money. But
Is your husband busy?
Oh, he can't come to meetings.
yeah, I don't know what the answer is. But
That's why I
I'm
closed the blinds back here, too.
hoping it's not going to stop anything. But
I like what Lucy said about a panic button. Even though we have one upstairs, but having one here.
So then she says it's too late.
Panic
Well-
buttons can take about 15 minutes, though, to get a response.
Rather than having nothing.
15 minutes is a lot.
We're redoing it.
15 minutes is...
But with panic button, I don't know if we've done the data and know that 15 minutes is, or we're just speaking like 15 minutes, but if you press a panic button, at least it's supposed to automatically go to the authorities.
that's true. But I believe they've used it, and it's gone off by accident, and it's still taking that long.
Because it goes to the security, and then they have to call, and then if no one answers, then they send it to the authorities. And the last time when we had that active shooter, they did it. It took 15 minutes to get to the police department.
Plus they're short-handed.
Yeah, even when the alarm goes off, it takes that long. They can be in and out sometimes.
Look at how much it would cost for a policeman or security system or retired.
But then, would we get something by the door? Is that what you're thinking too?
I would just have a sign made.
My
I mean, that says what?
No firearms and,
That's already says it on the door, and you're not supposed to come in with them. That doesn't stop them.
People will come in with what they want.
How about the TSA? He had a snake in his pants.
Oh, I missed that.
No, seriously.
you know.
Both people are talking.
Well, I look at the bank, my bank clients always had a security guard, right?
Well,
So there's outside services that perform, it doesn't have to be a police officer, it could be a security service.
We pay.
Yeah, you pay, but.
And then have, like they have on the banks by the door, the height thing. You know, when you look outside, when you're in a bank, look at the door.
Yeah.
They have a thing on how the
7-Eleven too.
what does the height have to do with it?
It's because then it's easier to identify
Well,
the person wise.
Again, it's just a visual.
yeah, I mean,
It's kind of like having a thing on your fence, on your gate, you know, watchdog.
Yeah.
I
Because
don't think there's a security guard even in the bank.
No, they don't anymore.
Yeah, they don't have her.
They used to a long time ago,
Yeah,
but
but
they
they
don't
don't
anymore.
have them anymore.
Maybe they do, we just don't know. They have one at the DLE.
but, the data marshals,
So it's something to look into. I think it's a great point. You know,
It is a great point.
Yeah, we all trust everybody, right? It's.
No,
I don't.
No,
don't me either.
Go on record. No.
look at the township meetings in the south.
Oh, I
Tiffany is. I mean, think of their bills, and you know.
They're not paying them, so it doesn't matter.
yeah, but,
Right now.
That's a good point.
Let's foresight, looking ahead instead of having to catch up later.
Right.
That's right. Okay. All right, anyway, we just want to bring it up for
No, that's great.
conversation.
Think on it, you guys, think on it.
Yeah.
See what we come up with.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Okay, next COW meeting, February 26th. We don't have any reason to go into executive session? Okay, moving forward, set the date for the next COW, February 26th. Any problems with that?
Nope.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Mike.
I have 9:44.
Bye-bye. Get better.
Okay, 9:40.
Oh.